Namaste friends, my name is Justin Michael. I teach Universal Yoga at Om Studio for Wellness in Alpharetta, Georgia. I'll be making a few videos for you. Some will be a little bit intermediate and more so basic, and you can decide which ones you need based off of your needs individually. But the rules of practice for these videos are going to be identical for each practice. Generally, you want to stay relaxed, keep yourself in a neutral state of emotion. You don't want to be too happy and you don't want to be too angry or sad. You just want to be completely relaxed and monitoring yourself. If the asana sequence or the vinyasas is leading you to a little bit too much aggression or vice versa, to a little bit too much joy and happiness, you have to return to the middle, neutrality, because that is what yoga is. Yoga is the balance. And so it doesn't sound so sexy at first, but once you realize the extremity and the violence of too much joy and happiness, you'll appreciate it more and more, just as much as we realize the violence of too much aggression and negativity. So with that said, as we move through the sequence, you want to focus on whichever asana that you're holding, static, and maintain the correct modifications for your body in this particular limb. So it could be your arm, leg, or both. But if it is too easy, you make it a little bit harder, give yourself less support. If it's too hard, you give yourself more support. And you want to feel just enough activity to dissolve with the breath. If you're breathing too frantic, then slow it down. The breathing for our yoga class is Sokham Pranayam or Ujjayi if you do bandhas. So you just slow inhale through the nostrils, contracting the back of the throat, making it audible. In slow exhales to the nostrils, all the air out, belly in and out. Engage the belly to push the air out and return. Slow inhale, fill in the belly again. Maybe holding the top, retaining for 1 or 2 Mississippis before returning, exhaling all of it out again. As we work through the practice, you'll realize which asanas you can maintain this breath control easier or harder, and in that you want to focus more on modifying the asana to make it more graceful to breathe and controlled, or if you can't, modify the asana to be easier so that you can control the breath. Developing yourself with controlled breath, with relaxed emotions, neutral state, and making sure that whatever development you're doing, whether it's strengthening, stretching, or balancing, you're embracing it with joyful enthusiasm and you're developing it for sure. You're not hiding and you're not running away either. So these are the rules of honesty within your practice so that your practice can become more fruitful for you. And another thing is the intensity of your practice will depend on the depth of your relaxation in your resting pose at the end of your sequence. Whether you're resting in a laying seat or upright meditational posture, the intensity is the juice. So if you don't go deep in asanas, you don't breathe deep in asanas, it's like you pull the arrow back a little bit. So when you let go, you shouldn't expect it to go too far, which means when you're in Shavasana, you'll be very neurotic, you'll be thinking very mental, not so sensual, and you won't be so relaxed. But if during the practice you're pushing yourself and strengthening asanas just enough to get nice sensations, if you're pushing yourself in your stretching asanas just enough to relax as much as you can, then you're pulling the arrow further and further back. So that when we go into Shavasana, you go far into relaxation and deep into meditation. And with that said, we gauge ourselves at the end of every sequence. If you feel a little mental, still thinking secondary thoughts, you're not able to be sensual in the body and relaxed without any kind of thinking or control, then maybe you weren't going so deep in the asanas. If you feel so balanced and so euphoric that you can't do anything but just melt into a state of relaxation, you did good. If you push yourself too hard to the point of neurotic breathing and high heart rate, then you'll be just like people are after exercise when they push themselves too much, feeling all kinds of aggressive chaos and harm to the body from pushing too hard and not moving with grace. So this is the difference between fitness and yoga and how we can actually use fitness to enhance our yoga and use the breathing techniques in yoga to enhance our fitness, aka making it more safe, secure, and beneficial to us. So use these tools as a means to see where you are in your own practice, see what you need to develop within each part of the practice, and how you can develop with grace and more power. So I wish you success. See you in class. Namaste.